What potentially relationship-ending secrets are you keeping from your significant other? I just started dating a sweet, intelligent, hilarious, super dorky guy. He's Christian, and I think quite conservative. His family is quite traditional, too. He held onto his V-card for a while and is definitely not the kind of guy who sleeps around. He's perfect for me in every way. I don't want to screw this up. I have no idea how to tell him I worked as a street worker for a while, and it's not something I can keep from him with a clear conscience if this goes anywhere. Pretty sure it could completely change his view on me. Story 2. I am heavily fixated to substances. When we first met, she found out, but at the time she was just a friend of a friend, so I didn't care how she felt about it. After about a month, we bumped into each other and I asked her out. One of the first things she asked me on our first date was if I was sober. I lied and said I was clean. We've been together for about 9 months now, and I've been using for 3 years. The main reason she wants me to get clean is because she doesn't want to find me unresponsive one day. She even asked a friend who used substances to leave her house when that friend offered me some. I love her, and I don't want to lose her. I know I should get clean for my own well-being, but I just can't seem to stop. Story 3. I am not in a relationship because I feel that my secret would inevitably end it. I cannot, under any circumstances, imagine someone accepting me, especially in a long-term relationship, due to the nature of my past. My father harmed my sister and physically harmed me regularly. I feel like anyone who hears that thinks, why would I want the son of someone like that to be the father of my child? Every time I'm paralyzed with fear when I go to meet anyone new, let alone a girl, because I feel like I'm lying or hiding. I just can't get away from it, and it haunts me everywhere I go. I feel like a monstrosity most days, so I don't meet new people, and I feel like I have to inevitably accept a life of solitude. Story 4. I desperately want to leave for the other side of the earth for a year or two. Not because of her, but because for over a quarter of a century I haven't moved from this place, and I need to get out before I have no chance of fulfilling this dream of mine, Australia, anymore because of real-life obligations. But of course, 6 months before finalizing crap, I have to fall in love with the most intelligent, caring, patient, sexy blonde bombshell I've ever seen. And she with me. Story 5. This isn't so much a secret as something he never wants to hear about. He really dislikes my beliefs in the occult and refuses to listen if I ever bring them up, so in light of this, I speak to another friend about it, a male friend. My significant other would probably be really mad and upset if he knew I was confiding in another man, and on one level, he's right, but on another level, if he was accepting of my beliefs, I wouldn't have to find other confidants. Either way, this is a lose-lose situation, and I hate it. Story 6. I don't think it would be a relationship ender, but at best, he'd be upset. I'm often embarrassed to be around him in public. Sometimes he's just too touchy-feely. He doesn't know how to dress properly for anything more formal than Izzy's, and he doesn't know when to knock off the bad words. Just yesterday, we were at an event where he started swearing in front of a bunch of children, at an event where bad words weren't 100% appropriate, but frowned on outside a certain context. This was definitely where it was inappropriate, and he likes to say bad words loudly. I'm just downright embarrassing, and I know if I flat out told him about it, there would be issues. I feel like we can never do nice things because of how he dresses and behaves. Story 7. Dad, I want to marry her. They've only been going out for 2 weeks. I accidentally Ted Mosby'd her yesterday, but she happily returned the sentiments. Everything just seems so easy and natural, unlike my other relationships. I can be myself, she can be herself. There's no judgment, mind games, or trying to impress. I just feel it in my gut that she's the one for me. I am aware that I'm basically overtly attached boyfriend, so I'm not going to pop the question anytime soon because I don't want to freak her out. I'm also aware that it could just be the exciting part of a new relationship starting and feelings will fade. But it's going to be a thought buried in my chest waiting to burst out in the next year or so. Story 8. I used a man for a place to live for 6 months. I was young and had nowhere to go. What makes matters worse is I told him I love him, and when I left him, I didn't give a straight-up reason. He stalked me for a year, and now he's just depressed and misses me, and his life is pretty messed up, and his existence reminds me every day why I shouldn't use people. I feel terrible. I'm sorry. Please don't end yourself. Story 9. We're not together anymore, but I still refuse to tell him this. No point hurting him now. A male friend took advantage of me when I was intoxicated. It was an essay. I didn't know how to approach stopping it, so I just tried to pretend like it wasn't happening. I essentially cheated, I guess. I've never done that before, never will again, but I learned a big lesson in avoiding getting myself into these situations. I trusted my friend, and he took advantage of that. Responsibility is mine, though. Story 10. I'm completely and utterly bored with her. She's a boring person. Boring in bed, boring to be around. She can be spiteful and is often really witchy. All I want to do is get the hell out of my hometown and see the world, but every time I think of moving or changing careers, she kicks it in and I give it up. I have frequent thoughts about ending one of us to get out of the relationship. Not sure which. The only reason I stay in it is that I think it'd be more of a mess to get out than it's worth. It's not a horrible life, but it's not what I'd picture for myself at all. And there are many days where I'd rather just see what's on the other side of the veil than stay here, if not for the hell I'd put my kids through. Story 11. I love my girlfriend immensely. She's great with my son, has amazing long-term potential, and we get along great. But I can't get over my best friend who moved away. They were exact copies of each other and had great chemistry. They both admitted we had feelings but never went into detail over anything before she moved. I've never felt that spark that I felt with her more than anyone else, and it hurts me every time I think about it. Story 12. This girl who used to have a thing for me kissed me when we were both intoxicated one day before she left for college in a different city, in public. I told my girlfriend about this the very next day. The only problem with the story is I was in my senses. I had been passing a couple of hints for quite a while before the kiss, and when she kissed me, I grabbed her and held nothing back. I love my girlfriend a lot. The only reason I kissed the other girl is because I knew she was never coming back and I did care about her, but I'm pretty sure I'd be screwed if my girlfriend ever found out. Story 13. This isn't necessarily a relationship ending, but it's something that I think about almost on a daily basis. I met my wife when we were both sophomores in college. The night we met, I knew I had very strong feelings for her. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen, and I was pretty intimidated by her. We met at a bar that night and went back to her house with mutual friends, her roommate, and my buddy. I didn't try to pursue her strongly that night because I didn't want to push her away if I struck out. She lived in a house with 6 girls, and this guy called asking for directions. I thought to meet one of her roommates. Gave the guy directions to the house before I left with my buddy for the night. Turns out the guy was a creep from the bar and had been trying to sleep with my now wife. She thought I was going to do what most guys would have done, give him wrong or bad directions so he wouldn't show up. He ends up coming into the house and finding my wife in bed asleep. She woke up to him because of me. And that's the story of how I met my wife. It haunts me almost every day. Story 14. I really hate his kids. His 2 from a previous relationship, and we have 1 together. It is to the point where I wish he did not have full custody so he can raise our son alone. His daughter is 17 and his son is 14. His daughter is the nastiest person ever. She hardly showers or changes clothes. She steals my garments and ruins them. You know it is bad when you get them from the laundry and it is black and stiff after they've been through the wash. My boyfriend, his mother, and myself have tried talking to her about it, but nothing changes. We have to yell at her to keep her bedroom door closed because the stank is so bad. His son is just annoying. He's not mature for his age. He still watches WWE, which is not a huge issue, but watches it while playing with action figures. The way he talks is like talking to a 5-year-old. I've tried to build a relationship with him, but nothing has worked. I can only hope that as soon as they turn 18, they move out. Story 15. Off topic, but if you're cheating on your SO, just please do them a favor and break up with them. Relationships should be exclusive, and if you're seeing other people on the side, just do everyone a favor and end it. That way you can go to sleep with all the girls or guys you want, and you won't have to continue a relationship you obviously shouldn't be in. Story 16. I've been on the edge of breaking up with my girlfriend for quite some time now. I feel like she's been the main reason why I haven't been able to take any kinds of risks for myself. I'm 23 and feel like I've wasted away 2+ years dating her. She's 22 and is extremely unmotivated. She doesn't go to school or work. She pretty much sits around at home all day waiting for me to get back from work or school. I've fought to get her up and going on with her life, but she seems to be stuck in a rut. I've tried talking, giving incentives, anything, really, to get her going, but nothing's worked. Story 17. About 3.5 years ago, I thought my then on and off boyfriend of 5 years and I were going to break up. At the time I met up with my married ex-boyfriend who I thought was getting divorced. I just learned his wife cheated on him and just so happened to have intimacy in his car. The ex later admitted that he planned it. I naively thought we were just going out for drinks and to chat, well, maybe fool around a bit, but I wasn't planning to have intimacy with him. It happened anyway, but I didn't feel as bad as I could because I thought my boyfriend and I would be breaking up soon anyway. Since I thought my on and off again boyfriend and I were breaking up, I told a bunch of people I slept with my ex, but then married ex-boyfriend conveniently decided that secretly sleeping with me in his car was enough revenge and he didn't need that divorce after all, and soon stopped talking to me again. After I realized the ex wasn't leaving wifey poo after all, I became terrified that my boyfriend would find out I had intimacy with my ex. Suddenly staying with him became all important. A couple years later, formerly on and off boyfriend and I got married. Most of the wedding party, both his friends and mine, knew I'd cheated years before, but no one said anything to my husband. I worry myself sick that he'll find out. Some of my friends have said that it was years ago and that they think my husband wouldn't be that upset if he found out now, but I think the fatal combo of 1, the ex in question, it's a guy I've always been borderline obsessed with, number 2, that I kept the secret for so long, and number 3, that so many people know would throw my husband over the edge. I assume that if he ever finds out, the marriage is over, but I suspect that many people can't keep a secret forever. Sooner or later, someone's going to say something. It's just a question of when. In hopes it'll entice my husband to sticking around, I cook him amazing meals and have intimacy whenever he wants to. He thinks I'm just a good wife. I'm actually just waiting for him to find out and get ready to dump me. Story 18. Before dating my girlfriend, I was with a girl for something like 8 years. I was certain we were going to marry and be together forever, but for some reason I just felt like we weren't going to be able to make it work out with our lives going separate ways. Job, college, massive long distance. I wanted it to, but I ended it because I thought it'd be best for us both. It worked out well for both of us, and that we did succeed more in life. My ex just got married a few weeks ago to second place. I call him second place because that's what he is, and she and I both know it. Prior to her getting married, we professed to each other that we still love each other after I had a fight with my girlfriend. My ex said, after getting married, that if I'd asked for her back just then, she would have come running. I didn't, because I wanted to have integrity and not break up her relationship nor mine. I just wanted to make things work for everyone. It was the easiest way for all involved. My girlfriend and I's fight then has really put a wedge in our relationship for me, emotionally. I'm not able to connect with her anywhere near where I was before. I feel like she's only a friend these days. Still feel that way was best, but every day I think about her, and every day I know that if he found herself single again, they'd be back together. We were perfect for each other. The timing and distance just got in the way. My girlfriend knew this, she'd probably end me. Story 19. I'm certain I'm the worst person posting on this thread. I basically have two boyfriends who both know who the other person is because they have both been exes before, but neither of them know I still talk to the other. See, one of them lives far away, but we made an agreement when I was broken up from my current legitimate boyfriend that we would get married at 31 or 32 years of age. I got back together with my current boyfriend and never told him about that. Never broke it off for the previous guy because 32 is still 5 years off, and I was head over heels in love with him in college. Thing is, that's not the worst part. I'm boy crazy. There's one different ex in particular I would drop everyone for, but he's in no state to be in a relationship, but I still sleep with him every now and again. I tell some guys I'm in an open relationship. I'm not, really. Some are fine with that and some aren't, but I'll take the ones that don't care. I don't have intimacy outside of my relationship often, but I have a serious lack of control when it comes to that one ex of mine. The boyfriend doesn't know I ever see him, and I try to keep it infrequent. Sometimes I tell myself I can be with him. I don't know if I can. Worse, I don't know what I want to do. I think I'm trying to make up for lost time. I never felt good enough to have any of the attractive guys when I was young, but now I know I can. I am horrible. Story 20. I was essayed by a guy I had been dating for a few months. I was naive at the time, didn't realize it was SA since we were together when it happened, and I blamed myself for years. We broke up immediately after, for obvious reasons, and didn't stay in contact. I went on to get stuck in a verbally and physically cruel relationship with my high school sweetheart, different guy, for about 3 years, staying mostly because I didn't think I could do any better or that anyone would want me after what happened. About 5 years after being SA'd and a few weeks after breaking up with my ex for the last time, I met a guy at the gym and we instantly hit it off. We started hanging out every day, and I finally started to realize I was capable of achieving a healthy relationship. To my horror, about a week into spending almost every day together, I found out his childhood best friend who had gone to a different high school than him was the person who SA'd me. They've been together for 2 years now, live together, have a cat together, and he's my absolute best friend and the most amazing person I know. He knows I was SA'd, and he knows I was in an unhealthy relationship, but I just can't bring myself to tell him his best friend was the one who completely destroyed my sense of self-worth, and I don't think I ever will. Story 21. 2 weeks ago, I made things official with my now SO after a couple of months of having the most fun ever with her. Things were going great, and I'm really happy with her. Previously, I was sleeping with a girl who had a boyfriend. Now, my SO is about to move into a flat with a boyfriend of the girl I was sleeping with, and I don't know if I can tell her or not. To make things even more complicated, we've just found out she's pregnant, and it definitely was not planned. I don't want to lose her, but I can't feel like a decent person if I let her live with a guy whose girlfriend cheated on him with me and not say anything. Story 22. Been thinking seriously about divorcing my wife. Nothing terribly wrong with the relationship, just so many small things. BS things, really. Man, have they had one hell of a cumulative effect. Honestly, I'm not even sure why I'm unhappy or why I feel like divorce would lead to happiness ultimately. At this point, though, I haven't made a move because of my son. I hate the idea that something I feel will make me happy would turn her world upside down. We've been together for 4 years now, and the whole time, before we got married, before the kid came along, I've been thinking about leaving her. Quite a pickle I'm in. Story 23. If I catch him smoking another cigarette, I'll end a relationship right then and there. We have a very good, healthy, and loving relationship. When we first began dating, I told him that I hate cigarettes and my reasons why. He agreed and told me he only ever smoked cigarettes very occasionally and only when he's hammered. I asked him if he could please not smoke cigarettes anymore, given my feelings about them, and he agreed. We went to his friend's cottage for a weekend and everyone there got hammered. Now I can tolerate being in a room with people who are smoking cigarettes. That's fine. Most of his friends were pretty much chain-smoking the majority of the time, and later that night I went looking for him and found him, sitting in his brother's car smoking a cigarette. I felt so betrayed. He told me he wouldn't smoke a cigarette. Later, when we were both sober and things were fine for a few months, until I caught him for a second time this summer, where he gave the excuse for it being tradition to batch in and he was doing a batch bowl. No bowl present, mind you. I was understandably mad. She started getting defensive, but dropped it when everyone else vetoed the batch. The last week of her summer job, I went to give him a good night kiss, and he tasted like dirt and smoke. Story 24. Around a week after I met my current significant other, I received a message from an old on and off friend with benefits. Want to grab a drink? I understood his real intention, and I wasn't sure if I was interested. As I mentioned at this time, my current SO and I hadn't known each other long and had only been on 1 or 2 dates. We weren't exclusive and hadn't been intimate, but aside from that, things seemed promising. I also wasn't looking for anything serious. In the autumn, I would be moving out of the country, so I didn't want to get too attached. I viewed our budding relationship mostly as a fun summer fling. When we weren't being intimate, my old friend with the benefits and I were fairly good friends. I convinced myself there was no harm in going, as I could just catch up with him and leave it at that. What could be the harm? When we met up, he noticed I was a bit more reserved than usual, and I ended up telling him I was casually dating someone. That's cool, he said. No pressure. We'll just have a drink and chat and then go our separate ways. Needless to say, that's not exactly what happened. Even though I know my SO and I hadn't agreed to be exclusive at the time, looking back on it, I feel quite terrible. We ended up falling pretty hard for each other, and I think it would deeply hurt him if he knew. Nobody else knows, and I doubt he'll ever find out, but I'm just constantly blaming myself internally for how I handled the beginning of our otherwise wonderful relationship. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 25. I had previously experienced severe depression and attempted to end it all. Felt a dangerous sense of invincibility due to my depression. I would often drive 130 miles per hour on the highway, feeling a complete disregard for everything. One night, I decided to provoke an altercation, alone, with 4 large football players from my college. I struck one individual forcefully and he was thrown backward. I then verbally insulted the others. They escorted me outside. One of them circled around the bar, pretending to be a concerned bystander. I didn't recognize him at first, as I had already received strikes from him. He asked if I needed help, and as I began to respond, he unexpectedly struck me. I was then hit from behind, knocked to the ground, which resulted in a concussion. They also took my wallet, phone, and watch. At the hospital, I reported that I was jumped and robbed, not that I had instigated the fight. A police officer found me unconscious in a ditch. I experienced nausea for 2 days from the head trauma, which prevented me from taking painkillers. I am no longer depressed. I also now understand what it feels like to be severely beaten. Story 26. My boyfriend is 20 and still lives with his parents who make him pay for everything and only leave him $50 of his check and also take money from his oldest brother. They don't work much at all and are really irresponsible and lose things and break promises. They won't make his younger brother, who is old enough to work, get a job and he just sits around on his bum all day. His second oldest brother, J.A., had 2 kids out of wedlock, one while he was in high school and one he got someone pregnant. His parents treated J.A. like a perfect little son, paid for everything, took away his oldest brother's car to give to J.A. and didn't make J.A. get a job. He doesn't pay for his kids and cheated on his wife, who's the mother of one of his kids. If my boyfriend were to get me pregnant, they would kick him out and not help him at all. To get to the point, I love my boyfriend with everything in me and he's the one for me, but when we get married and have kids, I don't want his parents having anything to do with our kids. I won't leave him alone with them because I don't trust him and none of my money will be going to them. He comes from a culture where family is a big deal. It's huge in my family too, but not so much a culture thing. I just can't stand them and will want to stay away from them and keep my babies from them. Story 27. When I was in high school, Catholic school, I wrote a pretty detailed note to a friend about how I got my whistle from my girlfriend. I got caught writing it in class, so the teacher took the note from me. Multiple teachers read the note because none of the female faculty felt comfortable handling the situation. I did not get in much trouble because the male teacher was a pretty reasonable and progressive dude for a Catholic school. My girlfriend was a very type A overachiever at school and would have been horrified if she knew some of the faculty had seen that note. I never told her about it and word never got to her. We dated all the way through high school for another year and a half before we broke up. A typical moving on to college breakup. To this day, she does not know that happened. Story 28. Things didn't work out with the SO, so I guess this is harmless. But the intimacy with my ex, before most recent SO, was always an adventure. She was always willing to try new things and was always enthusiastic. She wasn't afraid to tell me what she wanted and was definitely never shy about telling me when she wanted to do it. She was spontaneous, i.e. surprise whistles, intimacy whenever and wherever, which was the biggest turn-on for me. Intimacy with my most recent SO is different. Not bad, in any sense of the word, but definitely different. Maybe more vanilla. But the main difference was it's as if we never really had intimacy. The feelings and emotions were incredibly genuine. I was wildly attracted to her. She has an amazing body, which always turned me on, and when it came to making love, it was an incredible experience and I enjoyed every moment of it with her. But I don't think I would ever have been able to tell her I wish she was a little more spontaneous, and I certainly wouldn't tell her what my ex and I had done because it isn't about comparing the two. It's just that I enjoy the spontaneous nature and free-spirit attitude when it comes to intimacy and would have loved to have experienced them with my most recent SO. Story 29. There are 2 main things on my mind, actually. First, I frequently check her texts and social media. I don't go through her phone directly, but I review the phone bill to see who she's texting and when. I also discovered her private blog. When something is bothering her, she'll post sad gifs and quotes there. She doesn't know that I'm aware of it, but I check it regularly, even if it's been months since her last update. Earlier in our relationship, she was texting frequently with a guy out of state, and I believe their connection deepened. I was being distant and unresponsive at the time, so I don't really blame her too much for that. Since working through those issues, we've been doing well. However, I continue to monitor her texts to ensure the other person respects her decision to make things work with me. She used that blog to express a lot of feelings about him, so I think she'd be quite upset to know that I've seen it all. Second, our intimate life has become difficult and unsatisfying, and I feel she largely contributes to this. It seems like she rarely reaches satisfaction, and I'm left feeling exhausted. Engaged for a while, but she doesn't really communicate her needs. She attempts to, organically, without speaking, change the rhythm or position, and often it results in a position that's challenging or uncomfortable for me. When I can't maintain it, she becomes disinterested or annoyed. She doesn't say anything, just continues until it becomes incredibly awkward. Story 30. For the last 4 years, while my husband has been in prison, I cheated on him. Yes, I know what that sounds like, and I've heard all the judgments. We had been together for about 2 years when our son was 2 months old, and I discovered he had been unfaithful with multiple women throughout our relationship. It shattered me. I was immobile in bed, completely devastated. About a week later, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Now, most people would say, hey, I should end this relationship. Well, I'm not a quitter, so I just sort of stayed and supported him. Honestly, looking back, I don't know how I rationalized it. I might have been in that post-baby haze of no sleep and hormones. I don't know. My heart was foolish, my brain was just unkind. I wanted to get over him so badly. I wanted to stop feeling so pathetic. So I cheated with an ex. I thought it would empower me or perhaps help me move on. Not surprisingly, I didn't feel any better. We're still together. I've reassured him and lied multiple times that I haven't cheated, and he has told me many times that if I have, he never wants to know. He'll be home in 4 weeks, and I'm filled with both excitement and dread. I'm scared he'll come back and be terrible to me again, but I'm also scared that he'll come back and be amazing, and I will have complicated things. Story 31. I had a semi-intimate encounter with one of our now close mutual friends about a day or so before I became exclusive with my current boyfriend. It's a big, awkward secret. Context. When my current boyfriend and I first started seeing each other, I didn't want to be tied down since I just ended a 4-year relationship only 2 months earlier. However, I ended up falling for him very hard, and we've been dating for over a year now. We were seeing each other nearly every day for about a week or so, but I was still hesitant to start a new relationship so soon. One night, a few days before we became official, I got pretty buzzed and initiated an intimate moment with one of our mutual friends. He's a really sweet guy, but has had terrible luck with women. I was looking for a casual encounter and some fun. The friend was quite nervous, and the encounter was brief and awkward. All I could think about was my now boyfriend, so I ended the night short, and that was that. I started dating my boyfriend officially only a day or so later. Neither of us have ever told anyone else about that strange night, and the friend is in our very small inner circle of friends. He's no threat, but I know my boyfriend would be upset that I never told him, and would be quite bothered that I was intimate with someone else, especially his friend, so close to us becoming exclusive. I've wanted to tell him, but I think it would only cause trouble. If anything, it helped me realize that I didn't want to casually date and that I really cared for him and wanted to be serious. So there's that. Story 32. My religion, or lack thereof. When I started dating her, I had no idea that she, her parents, and every other person she associates with are serious with their Christianity. I didn't think blabbing about my atheism would be a proper way to really get to know her better, and I didn't know that she was so involved with her church, which is one of the ones that openly opposes gay marriage, openly discourages homosexuality, along with a few more cringeworthy opinions. Now it's at that point where I don't want to tell her, but at the same time, I don't think that I can shrug off all the religious stuff anymore. Has anyone ever had this dilemma before? Story 33. Not me, but I know a long-term acquaintance that has cheated on his girlfriend of 5+ years. It's a shame, he told me, because now I can't go out to meetups without feeling guilty and disgusted when I see her with him still. He's a piece of crap and doesn't deserve her, but she seems like the type of person that would forgive his misdeeds after over 5 years of being with him. I don't have an SO, but if I had one that looked and was fun like her, I wouldn't freaking cheat on her, or anyone, for that matter. It's not right to do some crap like that just to see if you still got it, or some messed up BS like that. There's no excuse for it. Break up with her after that, you schmuck. Then again, I'm a bigger schmuck for not telling her, but I'm sure she'll find out soon enough from someone else who tries justifying himself too. Story 34. That I often think about ending it all, and I partially blame her, my SO. I had issues before my current relationship, but things she has done have buried me deeper in this hole of self-loathing and depression. I basically caught her seeing her ex a couple of months after her and her 2 kids moved into my house. She denied a lot of things, of course, but I kept catching her up in a lot of crap. I'm so desperate to be with her that I made myself believe all of her BS. This all unfolded about 1.5 years ago. Recent things have come to light, and I'm 99% sure she was sleeping with him for a few months behind my back. She admitted to going to hotels with him, but only for talking. I also found out that one of her best friends was actually someone she was casually involved with, despite denying it when I first asked. I'm still with her because I'm overly attached and can't stand the thought of being alone again and how much I'm going to self-destruct without her. I fell deeply in love with her way before she moved in. Can't stand how messed up I am, how emotional I am. I have to duck out at work sometimes because of how painful things feel and because of how obsessive I am with these thoughts of her infidelity and the uncertainty of who she really may be. I'm going absolutely crazy because of the dynamics of my emotions, but I pretend I'm happy and cool and just keep going along with it all. If she knew how insecure I am and how depressed and debilitated I am, she would probably leave. Story 35. Not me, but my neighbor has been hiding the fact that he's a serious substance user and has been for over 7 years from his girlfriend. They've been together for 4 of those 7 years. She is completely unaware of substances of any kind. Otherwise, she would have seen the signs by now, though he goes to extraordinary lengths to conceal it. Actually, this is a fairly common occurrence. More common than you might think, but it's rare that someone is able to keep a secret of that magnitude for so long. He's a pretty functional user, though he is becoming less and less so as time goes on. She will find out eventually, and I'd bet on their relationship ending after that. They have 2 young children as well, which makes it very sad. Before people start criticizing me for not telling her, I am one of 2 people who know about his habit and also know her. Individuals who conceal their fixation usually keep those parts of their lives and the people in them separate. Also, I'm a user in recovery, so he would probably suspect me immediately, and it would likely result in violence and damage to my property. He's one of those individuals prone to intense reactions, so meddling in his personal affairs could be dangerous. Trust me, I've contemplated and wrestled with this for some time. Story 36. As of a month ago, she's an ex-girlfriend for other reasons, but the big secret I kept was my real opinion of her mother's reputation. Her mother has a decent reputation with about 90% of the people who know her, and a terrible one with the remaining 10%. The 10% talk about some serious financial misconduct her mother allegedly committed, but the 90% dismiss it as baseless, claiming she was just part of a failed business venture. I told my ex that I didn't believe a single word of what the 10% said, except the 10% are right. When I started dating her, a friend of my family sat me down and presented what seemed like irrefutable evidence. It suggested that either her mother had a string of incredibly fortunate coincidences, akin to the plot of Forrest Gump, or she knowingly defrauded a number of people for over $100,000. There's no definitive proof that would lead to charges, as it was done very cleverly, but her mother is indeed involved in deceptive practices. Story 37. I'm currently dating someone who is 3 years younger than me. I'm 21 and she's 18. Before her, I had a few brief relationships and one that lasted 7 months. She, on the other hand, never even kissed a guy and was generally against the idea of dating. Given that this is a Muslim country and she comes from a fairly conservative family, her decision to be with me was quite significant. She's beautiful and intelligent, and many guys before me tried and failed to get her attention. She truly is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I love her more than anything else in the world. That's the kind of relationship where my parents, their friends, and my sisters adore her as much as I do. Her parents don't know about me, which creates a risk for her. My point is, I'm happy. However, she'll soon be going off to college, and I'm hoping to attend grad school. The chances of us ending up in the same place are, to say the least, slim. She's fine with that, believing her love will see us through, and I think we could manage too, but for the life of me, I can't imagine loving only her for the rest of my life. I can't imagine loving her more than I do, nor can I imagine loving anyone else more than I love her, but the thought of loving only her forever genuinely terrifies me. And for all her toughness and resilience, she takes things like this very hard, and her family situation is challenging. I can't tell her how I truly feel because she couldn't possibly relate to it. Story 38. In my last relationship, my long-distance boyfriend told me once that if he ever found out I'd smoked grass, he'd break up with me. Him not living here or being close with any of my friends, it was hard for him to know exactly when I smoked. For the first little while, it was fine. I felt no compulsion to smoke and I never indulged. And it was only when, nearly a year after, I started smoking and not telling him that I knew I had pretty much moved on from him. That led to me breaking up with him, though I never told him I smoked while we were dating. Story 39. It's a little late to the party here, but my girlfriend has a brother who's an alcoholic. He's really in a bad spot, basically throwing his life away in a matter of 3 years. He's been to rehab twice, and neither time has been effective. She feels terrible about the whole situation and has a fear of alcohol because of her brother's experience. We're about 18, and we have been dating for about 10 months now. Before I met her, I enjoyed going to parties and doing stupid stuff. Toned it down since we started dating, but I still drink every so often with my friends on weekends. Nothing serious. Just for fun after a football game every few weeks. I told her that my friends were going to drink after the game, carefully not mentioning me, and she said if I ever did, she would end the relationship. That was a month ago. Still do all the time. I feel bad. Thanks, Reddit, for letting me tell my story. Story 40. My girlfriend's father works from home. One day he asked for help with his computer. He stepped away and I opened the internet. I saw his email account was open. I browsed the first page of his recent emails and noticed about 5 from Eastern European women, clearly from a dating website. I proceeded to read one. The woman had attached a picture, and he had attached a picture of himself with his youngest daughter, who was 10 years old. This confirmed it was indeed him, and he was even sending genuine photos. I forwarded those 5 emails to my own account, then I deleted the sent messages from his inbox. He had no idea. That's right, he had no idea. My girlfriend's father divorced her mother, but is currently married and shows no signs of divorcing his current wife. He's an extremely sensitive person and gets upset very easily. My girlfriend and her family don't want me to convert to their religion, but they want their religion to dominate the household. I'm not in favor of this. I would prefer to raise a family with no apparent religion, just my own version of right and wrong. The father is probably the most influential person in my girlfriend's life. Due to this religious issue and my overall dissatisfaction with our relationship, I am planning on ending it. It's difficult, though, as we've been together for many years and lived together. I approached the father once and showed him the emails I'd been holding for years. He was completely shocked and had no idea what to say. I was 100% blindsided by it and had no idea what I was up to. I'm currently influencing him to slowly but surely encourage my girlfriend to break up with me. I'm too hesitant to break up with her directly for fear of deeply hurting her. Instead, I've chosen to guide her into breaking up with me. Come to think of it, I've never broken up with anyone, but I've influenced women to end relationships with me 3 times so far. And number 4 will be the most intricate rendition of this characteristic of mine. It's been 3 months since this plan was put into action. I specifically told the father to proceed very slowly. If he simply tells her that I'm no good after she's loved me for many years, that will raise suspicions. I get weekly updates from him. The strange part is, I feel like he's enjoying it, like he's getting a thrill out of the whole thing. Even stranger, so am I. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Catch you in that video.